Our journey to China produced some of the most amazing things ever imagined. It allowed us to build both new and old in collaboration to the expansion of mankind. Health and human services was not the only thing that we'd explore, as through tradition, through environment, and through culture, we learned the significance of our trip to China.
We reached the Mutiano segment by taking a pleasant cable car ride up the mountain. It is told that the Great Wall is disappearing due to farmers taking the stones to build homes and for other resources. At the top, we hiked around, taking in the amazing views and absorbing the magnificent history. After, we took the exhilarating toboggan sleds down a long slide to the bottom. After that, we had lunch and visited the Factory 789, the Art District, a former industrial area converted to art studios and galleries.
I hope it's going. I don't know, Margot.
The China Rehabilitation Research Center is comprised of a network hub of more than 200 rehabilitation hospitals in China. The first hospital was built in 1986, and the project received international support, including Canada's, throughout construction until its official opening in 1988. The CRRC headquarters in Beijing is the largest state-owned institute and is the first line of medical treatment for patients with physical disabilities, particularly spinal cord injuries. The CRRC's Department of Spine and Spinal Injury Surgery is China's flagship in the field of spinal surgery and early rehabilitation. It provides diagnosis, treatment of spinal diseases, spinal trauma, and cerebral palsy, and the early rehabilitation of patients with SCI, spinal cord injuries. To date, the department has provided comprehensive and systemic rehabilitation treatment and complication management to over 10,000 patients with spinal cord injuries and spinal disorders. Through its study of advanced rehabilitation treatment in other countries, the CRRC has established a comprehensive medical rehabilitation system that integrates Western medicine and traditional Chinese medicine. The China Rehabilitation Resource Center is the oldest and largest rehabilitation center in China. As a national level center, CRRC's services are available to all of over the 80 million disabled persons in China. The center is open 7 days a week and provides services in physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech and hearing therapy, recreation therapy, hydrotherapy, prosthetics and orthotics, and traditional Chinese medicine. The facility has over 1,000 beds and helps more than 500 occupational therapy and 700 physical therapy patients every day.
We started the morning off visiting the Chinese Academy of Medicine, the top traditional Chinese medical hospital and pharmacy. Students received tours of comprehensive treatment services like cupping therapy, acupuncture, and massage. 2 students volunteered to do the cupping technique on their back and arm. The hospital was abuzz with staff and patients hurrying around. We got to observe a traditional pharmaceutical practice of herbs and old-fashioned balances. Late in the morning, we took bicycle rickshaw tours along the hutongs, or ancient Chinese neighborhoods. we learned that the more number of pillars a family has, the higher in society they rank. After lunch, we walked around the Zonglao Bell Tower and Gulao Drum Tower. Within the towers, we experienced a traditional Chinese ceremony of tea, brewing and tasting. Finally, we toured the 2008 Summer Olympic Village with the iconic Bird's Nest National Stadium and Water Cube Aquatic Center. The architecture is still amazing, and two of the student athletes, a runner and a swimmer, were especially in awe of the facilities. Our runner even got to run on the Bird's Nest track.
Walked through Tiananmen Square surrounded by the imposing structures of the revolution. Our local guide Lily shared to the students about the known Tiananmen Square massacre, which had troops with assault rifles and tanks that killed at least several hundred demonstrators trying to block the military's advance towards Tiananmen Square. The number of civilian deaths has been estimated at anywhere between the hundreds to the thousands. After that, everyone spent a few minutes taking in the impressive space surrounded by the National Museum of China, the Great Hall of the People, and Chairman Mao Zedong's mausoleum. The Great Hall was built in just 10 months in 1959. Next stop was the National Museum, in which we explored the permanent exhibit of China's history from Asian civilization to the Revolution. A central gallery also exclusively exhibits the revolutionary art. The paintings and sculptures communicate their political zeal extremely well. From the National Museum, we walked to the Tiananmen, or Gate of Heavenly Peace, the iconic symbol of the country and the gateway to the Forbidden City, where we had the chance to see the massive painting of Chairman Mao up close. We then progressed further into the Forbidden City, which comprises almost 1,000 buildings and stretches over 180 acres. But we were only able to see a third of the complex. Even among throngs of tourists, we could still imagine only the private life and interactions of the emperor, his queen, concubines, and state advisors. Before the Kung Fu show, we visited one of the oldest silk shops in Beijing. It's called the Yuanlong Silk Market, and briefly learned about silk production and weaving. Then the Kung Fu show, where it told us the story of a young monk who grows to be a Kung Fu master.
On this day, we visited the denture factory about 2 hours on the outskirts of Beijing. In this establishment, 70% of the employees have hearing impairments. All the workers are offered 6 months of general training and 2.5 years of specialized training for room and board at the factory. Each room is in a dormitory style, shared by 2 to 4 employees. On this day, we also enjoyed an extremely informative presentation by Dr. Yuang Zhang about the Chinese healthcare system. We learned that although China has the world's second largest economy, it spends only 6% of its gross domestic product on healthcare. We all were surprised to hear that Chinese healthcare is only partially socialized, with many individuals needing to purchase expensive supplemental insurance and/or to pay healthcare costs out of pocket in full at the time of service and then request reimbursement after the fact. We also learned that hospitals are only permitted to change patients the exact amount the facility paid for prescriptions that are dispersed. As a consequence, hospitals are perpetually underfunded, leading to staffing shortages and very low salaries for healthcare workers. As the bulk of the Chinese population ages and becomes more urbanized, the demand for healthcare services will increase significantly. So Dr. Zhang is hopeful that the government may implement reforms to shift resources to healthcare and improve healthcare delivery systems. We next visited a senior center back in Beijing. This facility provides housing, meals, and basic medical care for 72 residents. Residents must be at least 60 years old to live at the center, but the average age of the current residents is 85. This facility is so popular that it attracts clients from around the country and has 800 people on its waiting list. The center is very affordable, costing only 3,000 yuan, just about $430 a month.
The Peking Union Medical College is the largest and one of the most respected medical schools in China. Our instructor, Dr. Yong Zhang, shared with us that in 1917, the Rockefeller Foundation purchased the land for only $200,000 and construction of the campus was completed in 1921. Western missionaries were instrumental in introducing Western medicine to the Chinese, hoping that this new knowledge would also ease the transition to Christianity. The complex now has been expanded to include a hospital and nursing school as well. Currently, the complex employs about 400 faculty and staff, and the hospital has over 2,000 beds. Next, we visited the magnificent Summer Palace, designed to be the emperor's personal getaway from Beijing. The complex is huge, covering 3 times the area of the Forbidden City, and features a massive man-made lake. The palace grounds were originally designed as a recreation of the South China city favored by the emperor. At the palace, we walked along the longest corridor in the world, which has a total length of 278 meters. Lastly, we took a lovely scenic boat ride across the lake.
As we finalize our journey, it becomes evident that we just scratched the surface on what China truly has to offer. We learned so many things, such an amazing time, and yet we still have much more to learn. With every moment that passes, and as we leave this great land, we understand that there's just so much more. And we just have one final phrase to say in our goodbye.